Welcome, ghouls, demons, and fellow weird ones. And here we are for another segment of our series about the living art collections that I have on my website. So, we're going to do the Yuletide collection next. And how fitting for the Yuletide collection, I'm wearing black and white. And then I have my upside down crucifixion from Werewolf Band. They are a beautiful, beautiful black metal band from, I believe, Germany. Please don't be upset or quote me if I'm wrong. My husband introduces me to so many different bands, and to keep track of where all of y'all are from is too much for my brain. Please enjoy. I absolutely love my t-shirt. I've definitely cut it and done a few things to it, but it is just looking, I really love it being kind of folded and tucked into this slip here. Imperfectly kind of being like grungy. It's giving European, like European house maiden, in a sense. Like, I don't know, there is something to it, especially how it keeps moving as I move, and just that constant like adjustment. I don't know. I don't know what I'm feeling into, but I can picture a lot of different things. But absolutely love it. I thought it was perfect for talking about this collection because this was around Christmas and Yule and the winter solstice. And I absolutely love this band, and I want to promote their stuff because I wear this shirt all the time. But I'm finally starting to style it up. And for those who are going to say something, I intentionally have a really imperfect, messy, um, the fuck is her name? What the fuck is her name? Was married to Tim Burton in every fucking Tim Burton movie ever almost. Anyway, her actress name has left my brain. I know everyone knows who I'm talking about. Hate when I have these moments, but I don't have a bad memory. It's just the processing time. Sometimes very delayed. Anyway, so this one we're gonna conclude my yapping for today and my batch work, right? Because everyone knows the truth. This is shot by Jay Allen. This was a photographer that just happened to live in Michigan. This was one of the first photographers I worked with since Silvana, and like I had kind of just been doing my own thing, not really connecting to photographers. I got out of even trying to connect to photographers, but my friend Taylor from Farmington, from New Mexico, messaged me. She goes, "Hey, I met this guy in this like art space community thing. I don't remember. They met on Facebook." But she's like, I was talking to him and you live really like fairly close. It was, I think, like a 45 minute to an hour drive, but in the area. It was super easy for me to connect with him and Joe Sally. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. He's more in the electric forest, videography type dude. He does some really cool work. I'm not gonna say he doesn't. He wasn't the main photographer. I got some of these photos are from him. Most of them are from shot by Jay Allen and Justin. Hi, buddy. I know you're getting where is it going? Sorry. Sorry. It's the end of the day. Puppies are getting restless. It's my last video. And so my brain fog is also hitting me. Anyway, animals, hello. So anyway, Taylor connected me to him, and I thought it would be really cool. He was very open to exchanges, which I love the bartering system in the art community. A lot of artists will be like, hey, for a candle, I'll do a photo shoot for you. And then, I have the stuff on my website and I promote him every chance that I can. I have his name underneath almost every photo, if not every photo on my website, because I used a lot of his photos to update my website where I didn't have a lot of photos of me. I had more graphics and I wanted to personalize. So this was at the end of 2023 and my last winter in Michigan. Yeah, my last winter in Michigan. And I'm trying to think. I think this might have been before Doyle died. Might have been after. I have to double check on that. Not that that's like overly important for the story. It is and it isn't. There's a lot going on in my life. The house is being foreclosed. We had until what did we have until? We had until like June, I think, to figure out what we were going to do. My business wasn't as successful as I was, financially successful. I want to clarify that. I was going through a lot, and my business was receiving significant success, and I was receiving significant success for myself in what I needed, but not financial success in this situation of my life that was incredibly stressful and a big storm in mine and my husband's relationship. For a variety of reasons. That was a lot of stress. And so it was a big stressful time, but I was really excited for this photo shoot. And this was also one of the first photo shoots I have done in like in a really long time. That was with a photographer. It wasn't a self portrait, but also male photographer. So this was also it was a test to see, and it's also Capricorn season. It's fitting how it all works out. But for Chad, okay, how much faith do you have in our relationship? How much trust have we built? Like, because he was invited to the photo shoot, like, all of his boundaries were met, but he had to go to work, and he had the opportunity to take off work to be there for me, and he chose not to. So, like, it was really fun for me to see how despite every horrific thing that had been going on in our relationship and all the imperfections and all the judgments and every external voice that was telling me that this wasn't it for me or whatever, everything that made me question myself and my feelings, was proven wrong. I was proven right because, like, Chad, all the fear that I built up in my head over the situation for no reason, and beautiful photos came out. Chad absolutely loves them. I know he wished he could have been there, and this is what's fun. What happened for Chad is because he did photography, but he didn't take portraits of people. He didn't take pictures of people. He didn't do portraits. He took pictures of nature and the dogs, like, beaches, like, a lot of flowers. And I was like, "Well, I can be your flower. You can photograph me, babe." And that's, like, kinda what blossomed from this. And I know he has a spark with photography. I know he's been slowly bridging himself into creative works. He's been focusing on music, because he already has the photography skill. So now he's working on the skill, like, with his instruments and stuff like that. But what I thought was, like, really beautiful is when he's looking at these photos, and this is no shade to Justin at all, but he was seeing what he could do better, and that's what I loved about it, is there wasn't this, like, mistrust in me modeling. It was just this arrogance that I love of how he can make it look better. And I'm like, "Put your money where your mouth is, bitch. Start taking photos of me." And we have plans. We haven't done it yet. There's been so much that's gone on in our lives for us to really do that, especially to do it to his standard. For him to do it to his standard, there's a whole lot that we need. So it's a project we put a pin in. But that's what I really loved about this shoot is I got really great photos for my website. And, Jay Allen has some great photos that he got of me, like the self-promotion, the mutual community bridging. Because I have my weird community. He doesn't have like a little blurb on my weird community page, but he has promotion stuff like that. I want to be an artist who supports artists that I genuinely believe in and connect with. And even if it's just like 11th house energy, I want that deep emotional intimate connection of 7th house that I've been talking about, and I'm sure that I will find that in my own time. My husband and I seem to kind of find, I say kind of, we really found a solid foundation in Norway that I'm very excited about. I love the musicians and the artists and the community that we connected to there. That feels more like a 7th house community versus an 11th house community. But that doesn't mean I don't want to ignore my 11th housers who aren't this like daily or weekly or monthly connection, but a cameo or a moment in time, if you will. And so I really appreciate everything that I experienced with this photo shoot, meeting Justin, meeting Joe, I gave him the Thor candle, which seemed to really fit his vibe. He loved his candle. I thought about making him another one. We had plans on trying to do another shoot, but I ended up having to cancel that because I booked myself, which I love doing, which I've been working on not doing. I've been really working on pacing myself to actually get projects done, but not also to make sure that they get done, but to also make sure that I don't burn myself out in the process. So that's part of why some things don't get done. I do too much, and then I have to have a long period of doing nothing. And so I'm trying to pace that out into a more steady rhythm, which I think over this Pisces Saturn return, I would argue I have figured out to a decent extent. But with that, so the Yuletide, he took some photos of my candles. They created a really beautiful witchy, I don't know, very winter. I can definitely feel the winter essence within it. There's, I love the old lights. Like they chose some really cool pieces. And then oh my gosh, I brought so much stuff. I was like, hey, however I can help, because it's just me. So I had like 50,000 outfits, and I have this box full of anything that you could think of to use as a prop on top of the props they already had, and all these candles. I I really love how they turned out. I felt like a queen. I felt like a goddess. I love he created this like circle thing that's in the background. And to me, it reminds me of a portal. Very Doctor Strange like that, but with I don't know, weeds of some kind, reeds, maybe, I don't know, but, like, he really captured me. It wasn't all about being sexy. There are sexy photos, um, but there was my smile, there was my animation, like, here's the photo of me doing this, like, because I couldn't stop talking, and he was like, "The camera loves you," which I just love hearing that. Who doesn't love hearing that? But it didn't matter what I did. They were just able to take photos, and we were just yapping. And I had a really great time with everyone and just like experimenting. He gave me a little bit more sense of direction than any photographer has ever given me. And I really appreciated that. But I still feel like I could get more direction. And this is like my ambition and drive and need for perfection and self improvement. Like, thank you. Tell me I'm doing a really good job, but also please tell me how I can be better. Like, if I'm doing a good job, tell me how I can do amazing. And sometimes it is more so letting loose. There is a really funny photo in here that reminds me of the 40-year-old virgin, like, just because I was being goofy. There's a lot of beautiful smiles capturing me laughing. And they had a goat hip mask. So they have these two goat hips that they put together and turned into a mask. And I just thought that was so spooky and fun. And so we did some really fun photos with that. There's this really fucking freaky mask. I don't know how to describe it, but kind of looks like all the skin is either peeled or burned or something. So I really like it. It reminds me of like, either like a mummy, or if like I was burned at the stake kind of like mask. And then, like, yeah, my candles are most of them are lit. There's some real fun monumental pieces in there. There's an Edgar Allan Poe piece. We took a photo of me holding my Edgar Allan Poe, like, chalice and, like, me lifting up my dress and showing off the piece. I love the color and the mood and the vibe of that photo very, very much. So there's some, like, and you can tell this is where I would want more direction, and also why I've slightly mentioned this, but I've been focused. My workout routines I've not been powerlifting, weight training a little bit, but a lot of it's mobility and calisthenics and flexibility and things of that nature. And like, so that's for like certain poses. I was like, oh man, I didn't realize how like hiked up my shoulder was. So I felt perfectly, balanced and symmetrical, and it definitely wasn't. So that direction would have been nice, as well as I kind of think I just need to get the flexibility, especially my shoulders. I'm a side sleeper, and I know that like really fucks things up. So I'm trying to work on that. But yeah, I'm barefoot. I don't have shoes on, and almost any. So I have socks on when you can't see because my feet were cold. But I got some really cool, just a few, not very many. Like candle product photos. I got some because you can't not have any. But I kind of took over the show, which I don't hate. I don't think anyone hates. I think it was a lot of fun. I'm really proud of these pieces. And like the candles that were available, like some of them were burned down, some of them were old vessels, some of them were like brand new and like lit for the first time. Like I I don't know. I feel like I got a full spectrum, and I would love to do another shoot with whether with someone else or with Justin. I would shoot with Justin. He's another one. I would shoot with him again and again and again and again over and over. He did great work. Joe too. I like Joe. I don't know if Joe would want to continue to work with me if we have the same style of expression, whatever. I feel like Justin and I would do a really good job. But both photographers are worth going to Michigan to book. If you like plan a trip, or if you're in Michigan, book them while you're there. However your life is working out. They're phenomenal, beautiful artists, and I got some really great photos. They're all over my website, and then I have the portfolio collection on my living art page. What else do I have to say about him? I mean, so I'm wearing I fun. Okay, so some of the dresses that I picked out. I love that he picked out the reds and the golds, which very fitting for me, but also my black dress. But I have this gorgeous. Where is this one from? I'm just gonna call it an Arabic dress. I'm trying to remember where are these was this family? This family. Oh, are they? Because I have a dress that a Yemen family gave me. And then I have another dress, a Pakistani. This is a Pakistani dress that they brought back. They went to visit their home country and they came back and they brought me this present. And it's just absolutely stunning. Miss this family very much. And so I got to wear that dress and that was beautiful. It was very interesting how it brought up certain features of my very well blended genetics and ethnicities in my lineage. And so I thought that that was really fun. And then I have a sequins dress that I purchased for my little brother's wedding. I was a bridesmaid for it. And so I repurposed that dress. I mean, that was like a $200, $300 dress. And so I'm glad I got to find more ways to wear it. My husband thinks it's ridiculous because of all the sequins. But it's really gorgeous. That gives like siren, like mermaid vibes, which was really nice, which very fitting for my Cancer Lilith, my Cancer rising. I think that that's really fun. And then I have the same dress that I wore with Chad for our first wedding anniversary, a Morticia dress, like a crossover, like V lace sleeves, long to the floor. Gorgeous. I'm wearing his skull cap necklace that he got from Austria. So I think those were, and then I have it's like a cheap China retro stage. That's like this random Instagram brand that I found that had like the dresses obviously look better in the pictures. One of those like it's cheap, so it's worth it, but also like not worth it. But definitely costume outfits, low quality costume outfits. But I still love it. But it's like it has like a pleather corset thing that you tie and like it was pretty. I don't know how to explain it. Kind of I think I got it for more like a Renaissance dress. It reminds like the bottom reminds me of like a fairy dress, but it's black and then it's real cute. But there's some of that in there, but most of it was my Pakistani dress and my siren dress, which I absolutely love. Yeah. And then I wore that's what I wore my crown. So my Cancer Paula, she gifted me a crown, a princess crown, queen crown, but a princess crown. It looks like it's made of thorns in a way. It has it's gold and it has black stones and pearl stones. It was gorgeous. So I go down to CJ's. That's how I met Todd, and that's where Todd is how I met Paula. T Todd. So T Todd and Paula at CJ Mama Bears, which is no longer in existence, for good reason. And anyway, I go down to the store. I forget I think I went down there because they told me there was a present for me. I don't even know if they told me there was a present for me. I can't remember, but I had to go. I wasn't going down there for any of my tarot related things or my candle related things. I think I might have just been going down there to hang out or something. I really don't know. I wish I could remember exactly because I was there later in the after. It was later in the afternoon. It was just a different thing. I looking. I go. as soon as because my candles are in this open, this cabinet. I like go to the cabinet. I think I opened the cabinet maybe. I really wish I could remember more of those details. I'll have to sit with it a little bit longer. But I remember opening it and seeing my crown and seeing my present. I just started bawling uncontrollably. Like God knows, God knows why I was crying the way that I was crying. It was one of the most beautiful, sentimental, divine gifts I've ever been granted. There was, because I mean, my name is Sarah, and so that means princess in Hebrew without the H, because mine has the H. So the H makes it Hebrew. Without the H, it's Arabic, which I think is fun because of my Pakistani dress. To tie that in there. But it means princess. And there was a lot of things spiritually, symbolically going on. And so to be gifted a crown from a Cancer, that just I bawled. I felt like I reached a certain milestone. It was confirmation for a lot of horrific events that I was going through. It just there are not words to describe how important that crown was for me to receive the gift, the timing, everything about it was just amazing. And so I still have the crown. I use it in a lot of different things, but I had it and I used it in my photo shoot. And one of the funny ones is, I was in powerlifting and all the like I hadn't powerlifted in 2 years at this point. Like I had slowly stopped weight training at this point. And in fact, 2023, I didn't do hardly anything except some yoga. 2022, I was still somewhat weight training. 2023 is when my workouts kind of halted and I was in a deep state of rest, especially the more yoga I did, which I want to talk about that in a very specific moon juice episode, but I have like my crown and me like flexing and you can see the atrophy. I don't have as much definition as like maybe I used to. So that's what I realized in those photos is my body was softening in a certain way. And I was still strong. There's still this elegance. And so anyway, I found that beautiful. And then for me to wear my siren dress, which is very Cancerian, right? With the crown and everything, felt like such a blessing of all of this shadow work that I've been doing. And for having a Lilith, so my black moon, Lilith in Cancer, it seems so significant for me to be on the path that I was going. And it was all the motivation in the world that I needed to keep going. And these photos represent a lot of that. It's, looking back at all of the failures and the losses and the heaviness and the grief and just everything that I was experiencing and embodying at that time. I was questioning so much. I was questioning my marriage. I didn't know were we getting homeless? Like, am I really delusional and insane? Am I magical at all? Um, there was a lot of heaviness at that time. Deep in the pits of my Saturn return. Almost a full year of my Saturn return and everything that I've been doing, fighting for a dream life of mine that everyone around me kept saying I needed to go about a different way or give up on. It's like you could, like my husband was like, you can still have it, but you have to have a regular job. And it's like, I can't have a regular job just to have a regular job and for a few moments on and off over the next couple of years. But that was huge. And so to reflect, especially now, to reflect back at these photos, um, they're even more empowering than they already were. They were super empowering. And like, I held on to that like faith that it was going to mean something. And here we are, 2026. And it means more than I could ever imagine it to mean, especially deep in reflection. Because there is a coronation of mine into the underworld, which I think is exactly where my husband and I are headed, have been headed. I could go on and on and on about the journey that is mine and my husband's soul experiences and marriage and all of the above. But this was definitely an insight into that. I'm holding one of the best photos is me holding my Saturn candle. It's lit and it's beautiful. And so there's a lot of astrological symbolism and evidence the drag path of my astrology is there, my healing journey, my intuition, the fact that bitches I have always been great. And I mean that. Mean it with all that I have. I want everyone to know I've been right. I was never wrong. And I just had to go through the darkness, and I just had to experience some of the worst things that ever fucking happened to me. Um, and I had to process some of the other worst things that ever happened to me. Like, it seemed like I couldn't get away from negativity, grief, depression, anger, all of the low vibrational negative roots of everything. I know. You will go outside. I'm almost done. And I'm also talking about some of your stuff, huh? Yeah. My my gift from Hecate, which, one of my lanterns that got me through everything, you know? Oh, buddy. So, yeah, to say that we ventured through the tunnels of Set and dove into our underworld and we accomplished all the 12 labors, there's so many different ways that I could metaphorically express what it was that my husband and I have been through and are continuing to go through and build and cultivate and all of the above. The clip off, the shadow, this healing journey, it's not for the weak. There are reasons why it has such terrifying symbolism. Suna, no thank you. But it's all been worth it, as a crow from his father. So yeah, so I love this Yuletide photo shoot. I love the crown of thorns that I wore. I love that I have an inverted crown of thorns on as I express this video. Everything is intentional to the purest of unconscious planes, I would argue. It's fun when it comes through in clarity of that realization of, oh my gosh, everything has been a subtle little gumdrop to my 10 of Pentacles, my 10 of Cups in this utopia, right? I've been learning a lot more about the Uranus side of Aquarius energy. I feel like I've understood and mastered a decent portion of the Saturnian energy. And so now that I've been focusing more on the Uranus side of it, and it's making a lot of sense. So I love that completion and that wholeness. I don't know. I'm picturing the yin yang spinning for people who want to know what is going on in my brain. Yeah, it's been fun. And also to think about that was like the longest my hair had ever been, and it's like a whole foot longer since then. And just there's a lot of growth and shifts that you see. And that's what I really love about all of my collections is there moments of time that really express deep states of my psyche and my spirit. And to see the love and beauty through every phase is really cool. And to see that glimmer of hope, of love, um, of light. To let's just continue on with the cheesiness, but to continue to be that beacon within myself, even through all of this, has been, I don't know, it's really cool. So I hope it inspires people to never give up on a life of their dreams. Because I have fought to the death and ruthlessly for mine. I have a horrendous reputation. There's a lot of criticism about me. I wouldn't say that I'm the most popular. People will call me problematic, controversial. I've heard these phrases throughout my whole life, and they weighed down on me a lot until I quit pulling it, quit carrying it behind me, and then I got lost in the turbulence of it all. And now I feel like I finally have my legs underneath me and got my feet on the ground. And all of this is a reflection that I think I've always had my feet on the ground. Despite how things feel, I think I have genuinely been grounded and guided perfectly. Or divinely. I shouldn't say perfectly, because that was not, it could have been better. It could have been so much better. But I would say divinely. Um, and all of that divinity was absolutely necessary, even the absolute fucking worst parts of it. So, clip off is no joke. It's some of the most intense emotional pain that I've ever experienced in my life. And I would go through it all again if it brings me to this wisdom that I have now within myself and this inner compass that I finally see with full clarity, like the power of it. Like to say, I mean, I've made some bad choices. Um, and a lot of that has been a learning curve, but this gaslighting that I have experienced in my life to not trust myself, to finally put that to rest, is one of the greatest gifts I could have ever given myself. And it's a gift that I hope to give the world, to free yourself of chains that you can't trust yourself, that you can't trust in your own agency to make decisions for yourself, for freedom. You don't need a government, you don't need a mother, you don't need anybody telling you who you are, who you should be, as long as you're not horrifically hurting people. I not hurting anybody, doing what it is that I do, and therefore leave me the fuck alone. And that is my message. So with that, much love. Thank you for yapping and enjoy Yuletide by Jay Allen and Joe Sally.